Phil Holgate for Tin Top Racing News and Views with Michael Crees. Bit of a different issue this time. We're not discussing racing or sponsors or anything like that. We're discussing mental well-being, issues that drivers have had, etc. So thank you for joining us on this, Mike. Firstly, with regards to mental health, I understand recently you've had a couple of losses. I mean, how's that really been affecting you on this?
Yeah, I mean, indirectly to me. I mean, it's one of my best friends, his best friend, different circle, but obviously still know the guy. That was a bit of a painful one to take. And then my wife, one of her associates that she used to know back in the day, I believe her husband also passed away from suicide. So for me, I've been there. I've had mental health issues, if you want to call it mental health. I mean, mine was more to go, voluntary about stress and situations, running my own business, that sort of side of things. And I took myself off because I could just feel a few things, getting on top of me. So I understood that, took it on board, and I went off to do that sort of stuff. And then when I hear this is just becoming more and more common in males really as well, and it's not anything against women, because I know all the same, but blokes just don't talk about it, and they bottle it up, and finance or family or relationships, all these common things, and if people just sort of mentioned it to someone, maybe not someone close to them, maybe just someone who's there to listen, and people might sort of start coming out of it, and guys especially, and then hopefully we can save some lives.
I think you touched on an issue there, the way the male mentality with it. I think it's become a lot easier for people that maybe aren't in the spotlight, but if you're in a competitive sport especially, then I suppose it's seen as a weakness.
Yes and no. I mean, with the way the world is today, you go out and look at every single driver out on that grid, you could pretty much talk to them about anything. I mean, I've become close with, obviously my own teammates, like Bobby and Jack and Carl, and but also people like Senna Prox. I feel like, and loads of others like Jake. All of it, everyone I've spoken to. I feel like if you ever had an issue, they're all there, all nice guys. We're all human at the end of the day. Doesn't matter who's famous or who's not famous, and it's great that you see a lot of celebrities doing a little bit more now, because it's a bit making more people aware. But I genuinely do feel it's got a lot worse in the recent years because of social media and people in the spotlight. I was watching a TV programme this morning actually, and watching how it relates to social media, and people these days can become famous on a Monday and not famous on a Friday because of reality TV and stuff, and that's a hard thing to take. Where before, if you were in the public eye and you were famous for the rest of your life, basically, and that's how. But reality TV now, there could be a good program that comes out. You could be a star on that program. The following episode, you could be off that program. You get a lot of followers 1 minute, the next minute no one really wants to know you because you're out of the scene. And I would imagine that's quite a tough act to follow, and and that can probably make you feel really high one day and really down the next, and be a bit lonely. So TV stars and personalities, and like you say, people in the spotlight, maybe that is hard for them, and I get that, but it's equally as hard as the 14-year-old who wants to go to school but doesn't want to go to school because either she's getting bullied, or she's just not happy, or she's feeling sad, or we're all the same people. We've all got emotion, and that's the way I look at it. And that's why I think for guys as well, we need to speak out and say how we feel, instead of bottling up and going home and going to bed at night and thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow for money, or how am I going to explain this to my wife, or however you feel. So I just feel that everyone needs to speak out and lean on each other, and we'll save some lives.
You're someone that I think quite openly wears his heart on his sleeve. I think prime example is showing how you care, etc. With the crash at Donny.
Yeah.
The first thing you did when you got out of the car was run over to Carl's car and see if he was all right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a racing driver. I am a racing driver, but for me, turn 3 at Donington, when I see all of everything unfolding, first thing I was on the radio making sure Andrew Jordan was all right. Not that I know Andrew Jordan that well, said hello to him, had a bit of a chat, but looked a bad crash from where I was sitting, and I also mentioned that on I just said I hope everybody's all right when David come on board with us, because first thing is first, isn't it? Like, you know, we're all out there, we're all fighting for the same bit of tarmac, and we all get a bit, you know, argy-bargy, but we're all looking out for each other at the end of the day. No one's out there with a vendetta for anyone to get hurt or injured, and to be honest, as soon as I went into the gravel, didn't even bother me about my race or the position or anything like that. I see Cole going pretty hard, and I just wanted to make sure he was all right, and lucky enough we're both fine, and I hope that's for, you know, I'll have that feeling for my whole life. You know, it's not, you don't, you know, some people may just get out and shake it off, but it's just nice to be nice, isn't it?
In motorsport, and this is one of the reasons we're doing this, obviously raising awareness that people will struggle in any form of life, but in motorsport it seems to not really be discussed. Do you feel there's enough support out there for drivers or mechanics, team bosses, whoever they may be working within the industry? I use football, for example. When a footballer has retired, the PFA are in contact within a week to ask if they need any support to cope with the change mentally. Do you think, is there any sort of support out there for the drivers if they have an issue?
To be fair, I haven't come across any. And I haven't been aware of any. I mean, but again, I haven't never gone out and asked. I mean, I'm sure Alan Gow and Toka would take this matter very seriously, and I'd imagine same for Formula One and stuff. I mean, but when you're on this stage, you always sort of have an input into racing, even when you see like Tim Harvey or John Cleland or anyone like that. You know, they're either coaching or they carry on, and they've always got their foot in the door. So this industry may be a little bit different. And as a high-profile footballer, you carry on to be a high-profile name. So I think you need to look nearer like the midsections, and you know, and people like that. It's like people like Mike Bushell lost his drive this year. I was the first person to say, listen, you know, ring me, talk to me if you need me, you know. And he's a strong character. No, I'm fine. I spoke to him last week. You all right, Mike? Yeah, back on his feet, flying. Do you know what I mean? So it's just people. It doesn't matter about an organisation. It's just people checking in on people. You know, if you know someone who's a little bit down, go and just ring them up. Take 5 minutes. Just say, "You all right, mate? How's it going?" You know, that 5 minutes might be enough for them to go, "Do you know what? Someone's out there looking after me, or looking out for me, or whatever." So, you know, yes, I agree that organisations and I'm sure Toka and people like that are already aware of this sort of stuff. But I do think it's down to us. It's down to us as people. You know, if someone, I could say to a driver, "Are you all right?" He'd say, "Yeah." And really, he's in absolute turmoil. But what can you do unless they talk out? So, you know, it's all a vicious circle, and that's what we need to break, that stigma of going out and getting help. So,
I agree 100%. Having been in similar issues. We'll go now because it's starting to fill up here. But thank you very much for your time today, Mike.
No, I really appreciate it, and honestly, this is a strong message that I believe in, and we'll be carrying some mental health stickers this weekend, and I'll be doing more bits throughout the season with key sponsors and other people. You know, I'll be down at Goodwood Festival Speed promoting down there as well, and yeah, like I say, we just got to get it out there, and get it going.
Excellent, thank you.
Cheers, guys.